Hey, it's Dan. Welcome back. You're watching iAllegedly, and I've got a very good one for you today because we are in Laguna Beach, the Montage, and we're going to talk about the impending banking crisis that is unfolding around us that nobody wants to really admit is happening, but it's definitely happening. So much is going on. I've got stories, I've got people I've talked to, a lot's happening with this. Before I get into it, please take a second. Please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button and share this with everybody you know. And everybody who has a banking account, let's put it that way, which is pretty much everybody in your life. So that being said, there is so much happening right now. Spoke with a friend of mine, and Ken is a very interesting person. Ken has spoken at my medical conferences in the past. Ken is the CFO, I think it's 7 companies right now that he's the chief financial officer of, and he's got a very interesting background. First things first, he runs one of the most unique businesses to raise money where it's kind of like Lending Tree. In other words, you fill out one application for a loan and Lending Tree will send you to different places to get a loan. Pretty fascinating stuff. What he does is completely different, where it's on the investor side and it's for venture capital. So if you have a startup and you're looking to raise money, you've got technology, or your company's already up and running and you want to raise money, this is the guy you go to because he'll introduce you to the right person that has the funding at different banks and wealthy individuals and things like that. So just a really great guy, really knowledgeable. He and I have gotten along for years, and we're talking about a bunch of stuff. But the banking crisis is something that is absolutely fascinating right now, and it cannot be avoided. First things first, wealthy people right now are losing their credit lines like they've never have in the past. Now, what I mean by that is you have people out there, and this is hard to believe, but they walk around with huge lines of credit from the bank, $200,000, $250,000, $500,000, and all of his friends that have those lines of credit, they've all been called in. Every single one of them has been called in. Now, you can say, oh, they're deadbeats. These people cannot handle their finances. No, the banks are getting rid of those lines of credit. They're completely done. So, again, what does a wealthy person do if they need money quickly? Well, they can borrow it against their stocks. They can borrow in other ways. But the line of credit has always been the go-to thing that these people have had. And they're non-existent right now. Now, that being said, a lot of people own businesses and other things that they use, to make money on a regular basis. And what you're seeing is people get creative with the bank financing because the banks are not lending money the way that they used to. To go out and get a conventional loan right now, you're looking at basically a 60-day turnaround for most banks, and people are having to get alternative financing right now. Ken is working for MCAs where they do merchant cash advances, and this is the thing that's getting people loans and money quickly as an alternative. And he's got clients that own restaurants, auto dealerships, auto repair places, things like that cannot get conventional financing right now. It's just not out there right now. So what they do is they go get a merchant cash advance, and he's showing all these examples to me where people went out and, there's a kitchen that had an OSHA violation in Vegas, and they needed $100,000 quickly. They borrowed it this way through these merchant cash advances. Traditional banks and traditional funding is basically done right now. When you look at countries like Turkey, and you look at Lebanon and places like that, there's massive problems with their banking system. The UN just basically chastised Lebanon, saying that their financial system has been a Ponzi scheme, and that people in Lebanon are out buying right now anything they can get their hands on because their money's becoming worthless. And we're seeing more and more of that here. So I'm going to give you a bunch of examples on things like this in this video. Everything I do either comes from an individual that I talk to, or it comes from one of the news stories below. So this is not stuff that I just make up willy-nilly out of my head. This is stuff that you're going to see all the news stories. If you look in the video descriptions, I always include the news stories of all this stuff. So share your thoughts on this stuff, guys. I really want to know what you think, but let's get into it. Now, what we're seeing with the credit card companies is a real problem as well. And with the credit card companies, we're seeing them do anything they can to get fees, okay? Now, that being said, I have a friend who reaches out to me and tells me that he's got a credit card that's got a $5,000 limit and doesn't use it. It's all paid off, everything's great. Now, flash forward, his wife says she needs something for the house. Oh, just go put it on this card and I'll pay it off. She goes and spends a little over $1,000 on the card, and then the statement comes out, and the bank has now lowered the fee for lowered the credit line, from $5,000 down to $1,500. This is happening all over the place. Now, here's the other thing. All my credit cards are paid off, okay? I get notification from a credit card company, hey, you forgot to make your payment on December 1st. I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't have a balance with you guys. Well, your yearly fee came out and you didn't make the payment. Okay, so go online and make the payment. And then I said, wait a second, this is ridiculous because I didn't have a balance with you guys. And then they had the yearly fee kicked in. And what do? They don't send the notification out that, hey, you have a payment due in 7 days, 5 days, whatever. So that being said, I called and they erased the fee and all that stuff, but it's ridiculous because they have an automated system that calls and says, hey, deadbeat, you're late, but they don't have something that would remind you that the payment's due. Yeah, we stopped doing that. Yeah, I bet you did. The idea with this is that if you ever get hit with these late fees or anything like that, call them and demand to get it refunded, because that's outrageous. Because this bank, I'd cancel the credit card if I felt like it, but this bank gets rid of the automated reminders to tell you that your payment's due. So that being said, real problem with this, but this is happening everywhere. When you look at the video description and everything that's talked about, you see this happening over and over again, that people are having their credit lines and credit cards completely shut down. And the fees that the banks are charging is only going up right now. The fees for everything, for cash advances, for using the card, for your yearly fees, everything they can get you for right now, they're trying to get you for it. So it's absolutely outrageous that we're seeing this. But look at your banking, look at everything that you have, and look at the fees that you're being charged. The checking accounts right now, the banks worldwide are charging more fees. This is not just a United States problem. This is a problem all over. And when it comes to checking accounts and things like that, the banks do not want to have branches right now. They would love to have everything be online banking. But again, there are people out there, and I just spoke to a relative who says, Dan, I don't have an ATM card. I go to the bank and get cash, and I don't have an ATM card. Okay, well, what do you do for an emergency? I don't have emergencies. I got cash in the house and I've got things, but if I need things, I go to the bank for the branch. So, well, if you need $50, if you were out, whatever, there are people that are of a certain age that don't do that. It's like the story I told last week with the woman that wanted $10 out of her account and they wouldn't do it anymore. So she took out $4,000 and then kept her $10 and then deposited $3,990 back into her account. You're seeing more and more of this. Tesco Bank in the UK is a bank that was in the grocery stores. Tesco Bank finally closed all their branches. And in July, they announced, hey, we're going to close all our branches. This is going to be done. And again, this is happening more and more and more. Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Union Bank, they've all told me that if we could have everybody do everything online and through the ATM, that would be the ideal situation. We would like to have less bankers and less banking hours and less people involved with handling people's money. Okay, so that's again a real problem. But here's where it gets really bad. There are people that are debt collectors. We heard about the new social media debt collection thing that's coming out right now, where if you owe money, they can reach out to you via social media And there's rules with this stuff. And of course, the problem with this, guys, it's gonna be violated, okay? All this stuff is. There's all these new debt collection rules that are in place now where these people aren't even supposed to be contacting you. Make sure you owe the debt, first of all, if you do. And again, look at your jurisdiction. I had somebody reach out to me for a $66 bill from 15 years ago saying it's a valid debt. Pass, okay? Sue me. Statute of limitations are kind of overran, when it comes to something like that. But make sure that it's still a legitimate debt that you guys owe, before they start hounding you in any way, shape, or form. There are credit agencies, there are, fair credit reporting agencies. Here in my wacky state, there's every agency in the world to help people out there to get out of paying a bill. So reach out because they're out there, okay? And by the way, this is absolutely stunning. I'm in Laguna Beach at the Montage Resort, and it's a little breezy. My eyes are watering, but it's absolutely stunning out here. So, share your thoughts on all this stuff, guys. You're going to see more and more of this. You're going to see more and more bank closures. And again, Dan, where do we go? Okay, look at community lenders. Look at credit unions. Ask for the financial, ask for the finances of the bank and find out if they're financially stable. The idea of this is very simple. What if the bank closed? What if the bank closed for 7 days, 10 days, 15 days? What would you do? Okay? Yeah, you'd be in real trouble. Have a little cash outside the bank. Don't keep a lot of money in the bank. Look at different brokerage firms. Look at different things that you can do to protect yourself during this time. But just an absolutely beautiful place. I love this place because the hotel is incredibly expensive. No, I did stay there once, but tell the story sometime. But all these places to sit, just absolutely beautiful. Now, here's one thing that the banks are doing that is crazy, and it's unfair, but it's legal, which is bad. Okay, and that is this: if you default on a credit card or a loan, the banks can seize your account, okay, and the money that's in the account. So if you are in trouble, if your business is in trouble, beware, guys, because they can come after it and they can suck the money out of the account. And people say, oh, that's terrible, it's not fair. If I'm having trouble with the credit card, even if you have a dispute, they could technically seize the money from your account, from your savings account, and things like that. Now, it goes further than that. And here's the thing. People go out and sign for people's loans, okay? Maybe you signed for somebody's loan, a few years ago, and all of a sudden they default on something. Well, if you're tied to that bank in any way, they can seize your account. And technically, is that legal? Yeah. But is it wrong? Yeah, it is. And the banks, again, are doing everything they can to go after people and get their money, but they're not extending credit the way that they did 6 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago. You're seeing more and more problems with that. Now, people are borrowing money, and there's home loans and things like that are going on right now. But as far as traditional banking, they're doing everything they can to get rid of the traditional bank. That being said, if you stiff them for a credit card bill, an auto loan, anything like that, and again, here's the worst thing. If an auto loan, somebody, your idiot nephew, you sign for your idiot nephew, and he goes out and doesn't pay the car, wrecks the car, whatever, there's not enough insurance, doesn't pay the car off, and the car gets sold, and it gets sold for less than the loan is, they'll still come after you for that. So you can have horrible things like this that people need to make themselves aware of. And again, don't ever co-sign for anybody. That's the best advice you can do. So as far as the banking and as far as the money that they're charging the fees, they're having fees for absolutely everything right now. The monthly fees are going up, and the transaction fees. How about a fee to take money out of your own bank? That's happening right now. And again, read the stories. There's going to be, I think there's 14 stories right now in this video. There's so many different stories as far as the banks and what they're doing. It's absolutely catastrophic, and people right now need to get themselves ready for this, because again, the bank is not your friend. The bank does not want to help you. You don't have enough money to matter to them. Ken doesn't matter to his bank. and that guy's got a lot of dough. So again, take this advice, get yourself ready for this, because this is going to get much, much worse right now. Here's something that happened from the last financial crisis that you can say is a good thing. And that is that if the banks fail and there's a banking crisis, another one, we're not on the hook to bail them out. Okay? That's great. Now, I don't believe that, because the Fed will use the money printing machine and keep going. I could do that for an hour, guys. And the problem with that is that I think that the Dodd-Frank rule that, was put into place with the last financial crisis, that we're not going to be on the hook for these people, is ridiculous, because if there is a run on the banks and if there is a bail-in, okay, what that means is that the bank fails and or there's a banking crisis in general. The banks can seize all the depositors' money. And this can happen. Oh, that's ridiculous, man. That's unfair. What they will do is determine what the share price is for that particular company and issue shares to you. Okay? Now, I want you to go buy bread with one of those shares that they give you. So again, you have to have a bank. You have to have a financial institution of some sort. Look at having multiple, but also look at ways to protect yourself so that you do not have above the insured limit, which is 250 grand right now, and make sure that the money that you have in there is not something that you can do without. Okay? And you need to protect yourself, because I don't feel good about anything right now. And you can say he's a doom and gloomer, he's all this stuff. Look at all the stories below. Look at all the news. Look at all the comments that people leave me. Look at all the emails. If you got the hundreds of emails I got today from people talking about how concerned they are with the banks right now, you'd have a different tune. That's why I'm shooting this video right now, because everybody is freaked out right now. And all the stuff with the banking is going to be done this way. They're going to tell you that everything is great. Nothing's a problem. Don't worry about it. Everything's good. La 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 la. Okay? And the problem with it is that you're going to wake up one day and you see these huge stock market swings, hundreds of points in a day. Everything's good, everything's bad. Then they blame it on something new, and it's catastrophic, guys. Banks are closed. Be leery of your bank branches being closed. Ask questions why they're closed, okay? ATM's down for a week. Now, the problems in other countries like Turkey, Lebanon, China with its Evergrande debacle with the real estate company and the default, this is going to get to here. It's going to get to everywhere, okay? Now, if you have credit cards that you're not using because you're a diligent person, paid them all off, here's one thing that the banks have told me. Multiple banks have told me, go out, charge something, charge 10 bucks on it. Doesn't have to be a lot, but it actively shows that the card's being used and that it's not a debt account. Because what you don't want to have is the bank to issue some statement in there. Here's our new terms of service that we issued if you don't use the account within 90 days, and all that thing that none of us read that's this long, okay? If they do that, then you're safe, you're protected, but it also starts the cycle all over again of that card being considered active. Pay the card off, don't let it default on $10 or whatever you're gonna use. Even a few bucks to park your car, something like that will make the card active. Banking, as far as the relationship that you have with your bank, where do you go? The credit unions are much safer right now. They really are. They're owned by the depositors and the shareholders. They're generally safer institutions. They are better for lending. They are faster for personal loans, and they are faster for car loans, and they are generally cheaper, and that's what I've heard over and over. Community lenders for your business are lenders that are basically nonprofit. They're like credit unions for your business. But during this last year and a half, I've had people with a tremendous amount of success with the credit unions. Look at this guy. Somebody set up a tent here at the Montage. So who knows? He's not homeless. It's not that neighborhood. But anyways, so share your thoughts on all this stuff, guys. You know, it is a time to be concerned. I'm not buying the BS that's being, spewed to us that everything is great. Don't worry about it. It's going to be good. The supply chain issue is only going to get worse. It is destroying businesses like you've never seen. I didn't make up the foreclosure mess. And my buddy in the foreclosure industry called, and we're going to have lunch next week, and I'm going to get the skinny on what they're doing as far as all these banks and all the banks that this guy works with. But the foreclosures are a mess. The banking is a mess. The relationships with these banks and the lending and all the credit cards and credit lines are definitely being affected by all this stuff. Looks a little ominous out there, doesn't it? Dun, dun, dun. Look at that. It's beautiful, though. It's kind of a warm, breezy, but it just looks like the end of the world's about to happen, which it might, for all I know, okay? So share your thoughts, guys. Now, here's the thing. From all the banking magazines and everything that I read, if there is a bank failure, don't panic. Don't rush to the bank and collect your money. Why not? Okay? That's what they're telling you. They're telling you, don't worry, your money's insured, and you should have it back within 120 days. Okay, guys, 120, that's 3 months, guys. Okay? Come on. Go get the money, guys. Okay? If you sense anything, get it out of the bank. Okay? If you have debit cards or online banking or anything like that through something that's not insured, like you may not have the best of credit and you're out purchasing debit cards through one of those services, or you get paid faster and you have access to your money with a debit card, make sure the place is FDI insured, because if it's not, you run the risk of not getting your money back. Now, there were a tremendous amount of stories where people were small business people that did not have traditional banks. And last year, when trouble hit, these people tried to get PPP loans, okay? Some of them were successful with it, but the problem with it was some of these banked with some of these people that were not real banks, and they would get a $12,000, $8,000 deposit into these non-entities like Chime, for example. And Chime then went and seized the people's money. I know people to this day that still don't have their money back from Chime right now. So that being said, they got a PPP loan. I don't know how you think about that. I don't know how you deal with that when you're supposed to turn in your paperwork to get it forgiven and everything during this time, and people didn't have access to the funds. Tell me. Teach me. I'm really curious about all this stuff. Everything is included in the video description below. There's a ton of information on this stuff, but you need to protect yourself. And as far as your investment accounts right now, take a look at your investment accounts. And again, if you were going to have surgery, I don't care, we have the best surgeon here in the world, okay? He's done brain surgery 100 times. I know somebody who's going through a major illness right now, and her doctors are the best on the planet Earth, and we get second opinions every time, third opinions sometimes, different opinions, okay? Why wouldn't you do that for your finances? Because my Uncle Steve is really good with it, and he's helped us out so much. Okay, well, when it's gone, you're gonna blame Uncle Steve, okay? So get different advice. I had somebody reach out in regards to CalPERS today. CalPERS is the biggest pension company, I think maybe one of the biggest ones in the world right now for the California retired pension people. They just announced 2 weeks ago, and if you guys are new to this channel, they just announced 2 weeks ago that they're going to, the board of directors voted and they've agreed that they're going to do more risky investments in the future to maintain liquidity in the company, which in other words, going to Vegas, we're gonna roll the dice. Oh baby, yeah, 7, oh yeah, okay, we can pay everybody now, woohoo, okay? That's where your retirement is at with CalPERS right now, that they've just decided they're gonna do more risky investments, okay? Insanity, guys, absolute insanity. So protect yourself, think about your family, think about your future. A lot of people hate tough questions and hate to deal with things like that. I hate banking. I don't want to deal with these people. None of us do. But again, if you were going to go without it, and the question I love to ask people is, do you like your 401k? Where's it at right now? Oh, I don't have that much money, Dan. I've got only $25,000 in there. Great. Okay, if it was cut in half, would that affect your lifestyle? Of course it would, okay? So share your thoughts on all this stuff, guys. Take a look at the video description, because there's so many stories down there that cover all this stuff, and you need to be concerned about this, and you need to be awake to this stuff, because everything's great. It's all la 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 la. Whoa, I don't hear any music anymore, because it's gonna stop soon. And when it stops, you're gonna either you're gonna say, oh, that idiot was right, okay? Or you're gonna say, wow, I'm ready. I was already prepared for this. So onward and upward, guys. Good luck to you. Please don't forget to hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. Join our email list. And if you guys want to get a free Webull account, check out the link below, and you can get a free share of stock through Webull. It's awesome. And if you want to trade cryptos, you can do the same thing down there. Good luck to each and every one of you guys, but I love coming out here. Talk about banking a lot when I come out here. So good luck, guys. Share your thoughts on all this stuff.